Marcus Thompson walked down the sidewalk with his violin case in his right hand. The case was black and worn at the edges. He had carried it every day for 8 years. Inside was the most important thing in his life. The boy was 14 years old. He was tall for his age, with dark brown eyes and short black hair. His school uniform was a white shirt and dark blue pants. On his feet were sneakers that his mother had bought him 3 months ago. They were getting old now, but Marcus took care of them. It was Friday evening. The sun was going down behind the buildings. The sky was orange and pink. Marcus had just finished his orchestra practice at Lincoln Middle School. He practiced every Friday after regular classes ended. Sometimes he stayed for 3 hours. Today it was 4 hours. His fingers were tired, but he felt happy. He had finally played the difficult part of his music perfectly. Marcus started playing violin when he was 6 years old. His grandmother saw him watching a violin player on television one day. The man was playing beautiful music. Marcus could not stop watching. His eyes were wide open. He did not move until the music ended. His grandmother asked him, "Do you want to learn that?" Marcus nodded his head up and down very fast. "Yes, Grandma." "Yes, please." His grandmother was not a rich woman. She worked at a grocery store. She counted items and put price tags on them. The work was hard and her feet hurt at the end of every day. But she loved her grandson more than anything in the world. She started saving money. Every week she put away $10, sometimes $15. She did this for 2 years. She did not buy new clothes for herself. She did not go to the movies. She did not eat at restaurants. All the money went into a coffee can that she kept under her bed. When Marcus was 8 years old, his grandmother took him to a music store. The store had violins hanging on the wall. Some were small. Some were big. They were all different colors of brown wood. "Pick one," his grandmother said. Marcus could not believe it. His hands were shaking. He tried 3 violins. The third one felt right in his hands. When he pulled the bow across the strings, even without knowing how to play, the sound was beautiful. The violin cost $600. His grandmother paid with cash from the coffee can. She counted out the bills one by one. The man at the store put the violin in a case. He showed Marcus how to hold it properly. That was 6 years ago. Since then, Marcus practiced every single day. At first, the sounds he made were terrible. His mother said it sounded like a cat crying. But Marcus did not give up. He practiced for 1 hour every morning before school. He practiced for 2 hours every evening after homework. On weekends, he practiced for 4 hours. His music teacher at school was Mrs. Chen. She was a small woman with gray hair and kind eyes. She had played violin for 40 years. When she heard Marcus play for the first time, she knew he was special. "This boy has a gift," she told his mother. "He could be great, really great." Mrs. Chen gave Marcus extra lessons. She did not charge any money. She taught him difficult pieces of music. She showed him how to move his fingers faster. She explained how to make the music sound happy or sad or angry. Marcus loved it all. When he played violin, he forgot about everything else. He forgot that his family did not have much money. He forgot that his father had left when he was 3 years old. He forgot that some kids at school made fun of his old clothes. When he played violin, he was free. He had a big dream. He wanted to go to Juilliard. That was a famous music school in New York City. Only the best musicians in the world went there. Mrs. Chen told him he was good enough. She said if he kept practicing, he could get in. Marcus thought about Juilliard every day. He imagined himself walking into that school. He imagined playing on big stages. He imagined making his mother and grandmother proud. His mother worked as a nurse at the city hospital. She worked long hours. Sometimes she worked at night. Sometimes she worked on weekends. She was always tired, but she never missed Marcus's concerts at school. She sat in the front row every time. She clapped louder than anyone else. His grandmother was 72 years old now. She still worked at the grocery store, but only part-time. Her hands hurt from arthritis, but she still came to every concert too. She sat next to Marcus's mother. She always cried happy tears when Marcus played. Now Marcus was walking home through Riverside Park. He took this path every Friday after practice. It was faster than walking on the main road. The park was quiet. Most people had gone home for dinner. There was a playground with swings and slides. There were benches where old people sat during the day. There were big trees with leaves that were turning red and yellow. Marcus hummed while he walked. He was humming the music he had practiced today. It was from a famous piece called Winter by Vivaldi. The music was fast and exciting. It made him think of snow falling and wind blowing. He held his violin case carefully. Inside was not just a violin. Inside was his grandmother's sacrifice. Inside was 2 years of her life. Inside was every morning practice and every evening practice. Inside was his dream of Juilliard. Inside was his future. The sun was almost gone now. The park was getting dark. Streetlights were starting to turn on. Marcus could see his apartment building in the distance. It was 10 more minutes of walking. His mother was probably home from work by now. She would have dinner ready. Maybe chicken and rice. That was his favorite. He smiled, thinking about dinner. He smiled, thinking about how well he played today. He smiled, thinking about Juilliard. Marcus did not know that his life was about to change. He did not know that in 5 minutes something terrible would happen. He did not know that his violin, his precious violin, would be broken. He did not know that this quiet Friday evening would become the worst day of his life. He just kept walking and humming. His fingers tapped against the violin case, playing the music in his mind. The case swung gently by his side. Inside, the violin was safe and sound for now. Officer Derek Hutchins sat in his police car. He was parked near the entrance of Riverside Park. His window was down. He was drinking coffee from a paper cup. The coffee was cold now, but he drank it anyway. Hutchins was 43 years old. He had been a police officer for 12 years. He was a big man with a thick neck and large arms. His hair was cut very short. His face was red from too much sun. His uniform was clean and pressed. His badge shined in the evening light. He did not like his job anymore. Every day was the same. Drive around. Watch people. Write tickets. Deal with complaints. He was tired of it. He was tired of everything. Hutchins had problems at home, too. His wife wanted a divorce. She said he was angry all the time. She said he scared her. They had 2 kids, but Hutchins had not seen them in 3 weeks. His wife would not let him in the house. The police department had problems with Hutchins, too. People had complained about him 17 times. They said he was rude. They said he used too much force. They said he treated black people and Hispanic people badly. Every time there was a complaint, Hutchins had to talk to his boss. Every time his boss told him to be more careful. But nothing serious ever happened to him. He never got suspended. He never lost any pay. He just got warnings. Some of the other officers did not like Hutchins. They said he was too aggressive. They said he looked for trouble. But other officers were his friends. They said people complain too much these days. They said Hutchins was just doing his job. Now Hutchins was finishing his shift. He had 30 minutes left. Then he could go home to his empty apartment. He would drink beer and watch television until he fell asleep on the couch. He looked across the park. Most people had left. The playground was empty. The benches were empty. Then he saw someone walking on the path. It was a teenage boy, a black teenage boy. The boy was carrying some kind of case. Hutchins sat up straight. He put his coffee cup down. He watched the boy carefully. The boy was walking fast. He was looking down at the ground. He was humming or singing something. Something about the boy bothered Hutchins. He could not say what it was. Maybe it was the way the boy walked. Maybe it was the case he carried. Maybe it was just that Hutchins was in a bad mood. He had been in a bad mood for months. Hutchins started his car. He drove slowly across the grass toward the path. The boy did not see him coming. The boy was lost in his own world, humming his music. When Hutchins got close, he turned on his lights. The blue and red lights flashed in the growing darkness. Now the boy noticed. The boy stopped walking. He turned around and looked at the police car. His eyes were wide. Marcus felt his heart start to beat fast. He had not done anything wrong. He was just walking home, but the police car was coming toward him with its lights flashing. He felt scared. Hutchins stopped the car right next to Marcus. He rolled down his window all the way. He looked at Marcus with hard eyes. "Stop right there," Hutchins said. His voice was loud and harsh. Marcus stopped. He held his violin case close to his body. "What are you doing in the park?" Hutchins asked. "I'm walking home, sir," Marcus said. His voice was quiet and polite. His mother had taught him to always be polite to police officers. "I just finished practice at school." "Practice for what?" Hutchins asked. He opened his car door and got out. He was much bigger than Marcus. He stood very close to the boy. "Orchestra practice," Marcus said. "I play violin. What's in the case?" Hutchins asked. He pointed at the violin case. "My violin, sir," Marcus answered. "I can show you if you want." "Put the case down on the ground," Hutchins ordered. Step back from it, Marcus felt confused. Why did he have to put his violin down? He was not doing anything wrong. But he did what the officer said. He bent down slowly and put the case on the ground. Then he stepped back 2 steps. Hutchins moved forward. He picked up the case. He shook it. Marcus heard his violin moving inside. His grandmother's violin, the violin that meant everything to him. "Please be careful," Marcus said. "It's fragile." "I'll decide what's fragile," Hutchins said. He shook the case harder. Marcus heard a sound from inside. A small cracking sound. His eyes got bigger. Fear filled his chest. "Please, sir," Marcus said. "That's my violin. My grandmother bought it for me." "Please don't tell me what to do," Hutchins said. His face was getting redder. He was getting angry, though he did not know why. Maybe it was the way the boy looked at him. Maybe it was the boy's voice. Maybe it was just because Hutchins wanted to be angry at someone. Hutchins put the case down hard on the concrete path. The sound echoed in the quiet park. Then he started to open the latches. Marcus could not help himself. He stepped forward and reached out his hand. "Please, I can open it for you. Please be careful with it." That was the moment everything went wrong. Hutchins saw the boy step toward him. He saw the boy's hand reach out. In his mind, Hutchins saw it as a threat. In his mind, the boy was being aggressive. In his mind, he needed to act. Hutchins pushed Marcus hard with both hands. Marcus fell backward onto the grass. His head hit the ground. Everything went blurry for a second. "Stay down," Hutchins yelled. "Don't move." Marcus lay on the ground. He was breathing fast. Tears came to his eyes. Not from pain, from fear, from confusion. He had done nothing wrong. Nothing. Hutchins stood over the violin case. He was breathing hard too. His hands were shaking. Some part of his brain told him he was going too far. Some part of his brain told him to stop. But he did not listen to that part. He looked at the boy on the ground. He looked at the violin case. And then, in a moment of rage he would never be able to explain, Hutchins picked up the case and threw it down hard on the concrete. The sound was terrible. It was the sound of wood breaking. It was the sound of strings snapping. It was the sound of something precious being destroyed. The case burst open. The violin fell out onto the concrete. The beautiful brown wood was cracked down the middle. The neck was broken. The strings curled up like dead vines. Pieces of wood scattered across the path. Marcus stared at the broken violin. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. His whole body went cold. He felt like he could not breathe. "That's what happens when you don't listen," Hutchins said, but his voice was quieter now. Some part of him knew he had gone too far. Marcus crawled forward on his hands and knees. He reached the broken violin. He picked up the pieces with shaking hands. Tears ran down his face. He could not stop them. "My violin," he whispered. "My grandmother's violin." He held the broken neck in one hand and the broken body in another. The strings hung between them. 2 years of his grandmother's saving. 6 years of his practice. His dream of Juilliard. All of it broken on the concrete. Across the park, a woman named Sarah Mitchell had been jogging. She saw the police lights. She saw the officer push the boy. She saw him throw the case. She stopped running and pulled out her phone. She started recording video. She also called 911. Hutchins looked around. He saw the woman with her phone. He realized people were watching. His anger turned to worry. What had he done? "You were acting suspicious," Hutchins said to Marcus. "You became aggressive. That's why this happened. Do you understand?" Marcus did not answer. He just sat on the ground holding his broken violin and crying. Hutchins got back in his car. He drove away slowly. His hands were still shaking on the steering wheel. Sarah Mitchell ran across the park toward Marcus. She was 32 years old and worked as a teacher at an elementary school. She jogged through this park every evening. She had never seen anything like what just happened. When she reached Marcus, he was still sitting on the ground. He held the broken pieces of his violin in his lap. Tears covered his face. His whole body was shaking. "Are you okay?" Sarah asked. She knelt down beside him. "Are you hurt?" Marcus shook his head. He could not speak. He just looked at the broken violin. I saw everything, Sarah said. I recorded it on my phone. And I called 911. An ambulance is coming. Are you sure you're not hurt? My violin, Marcus finally said. His voice cracked. He broke my violin. Sarah felt her heart break. She could see this was not just any instrument to this boy. This was something special. Something important. I'm so sorry, she said. That officer had no right to do that. No right at all. A police car arrived. But this time it was a different officer. Her name was Officer Martinez. She was young and had kind eyes. She talked to Marcus gently. She asked him what happened. Marcus tried to explain, but he kept crying. Sarah showed Officer Martinez the video on her phone. Martinez watched it. Her face became serious. She shook her head. This is bad, Martinez said. Very bad. That officer is going to be in big trouble. Then Marcus's mother arrived. Someone from Sarah's 911 call had contacted her. Linda Thompson ran across the park. She was still wearing her nurse uniform from the hospital. Her name tag bounced on her chest as she ran. Marcus, she called out. Baby, what happened? When she saw him on the ground with the broken violin, she fell to her knees beside him. She pulled him into her arms. He buried his face in her shoulder and cried harder. What happened? Linda asked Officer Martinez. Why is my son on the ground? Why is his violin broken? Officer Martinez explained what she knew. Sarah showed Linda the video. Linda watched it on Sarah's phone. Her hands started shaking. Her face became angry, then sad, then angry again. That officer pushed my baby, Linda said. Her voice was rising. He pushed my son for no reason. He destroyed his violin. His grandmother bought him that violin. She saved for 2 years. I know, ma'am, Officer Martinez said. I promise you this will be investigated. That officer's name is Derek Hutchins. I'm going to make sure everyone knows what he did. Sarah gave Officer Martinez her phone number and email. She said she would send the video. She also said she would testify about what she saw. She gave her information to Linda, too. I teach children, Sarah said to Linda. I can't let this go. What that officer did was wrong. Completely wrong. By now, other people had gathered. Someone had called the local news station. A news van pulled up. A reporter and a cameraman got out. The reporter's name was James Wilson. He had been covering police problems in the city for 5 years. James talked to Sarah first. She told him everything she saw. She showed him the video. James asked if he could have a copy. Sarah said yes. Then James approached Linda. Ma'am, I'm very sorry about what happened to your son. Would you be willing to talk to me? Linda looked at Marcus. He was calmer now, but still holding the broken violin. She looked at the reporter. She was tired. She was angry. She was sad, but she knew this was important. Yes, Linda said. I'll talk to you. People need to know what happened here. James interviewed Linda while his cameraman filmed. Marcus sat nearby with Officer Martinez, who stayed to make sure he was safe. My son is a good boy, Linda said to the camera. He practices violin 4 hours every day. He has dreams, big dreams. He wants to go to Juilliard. That violin was everything to him, and that officer destroyed it for no reason. My son was just walking home from school. He was just walking home, her voice broke. She wiped tears from her eyes. My mother-in-law saved for 2 years to buy that violin, Linda continued. She worked so hard, and now it's broken. Destroyed because of what? Because my son is black? Because that officer felt like it? This has to stop. This has to stop. James asked Marcus a few gentle questions too. Marcus's voice was quiet and sad. I just wanted to show him it was a violin, Marcus said. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was just walking home. And now it's broken. Everything is broken. The interview ended. James promised to air the story on the evening news. He asked Linda for her phone number. He said other reporters might want to talk to her. Sarah gave Linda her phone number too. If you need anything, Sarah said. Anything at all. I'm here. What I saw today was not right. I want to help, Linda hugged Sarah. Thank you, she said. Thank you for recording it. Thank you for caring. Officer Martinez drove Marcus and Linda home in her police car. Marcus sat in the back with the broken violin pieces carefully placed in a plastic bag. He looked out the window but did not really see anything. When they got to their apartment building, Linda helped Marcus out of the car. Officer Martinez gave Linda her card. Call me if you need anything, Martinez said. And I promise you we will look into this. Not all officers are like Hutchins. Not all of us, Linda nodded. She believed Martinez. But right now she was too upset to think about good officers and bad officers. She just wanted to get her son inside and safe. In their small apartment, Marcus went straight to his room. He put the broken violin pieces on his bed. He sat next to them and stared at them. Linda stood in the doorway watching him. "Baby, we'll get you another violin," she said. "It won't be the same," Marcus said. "Grandma bought that one. She saved so long. It won't be the same." Linda sat on the bed next to him. She put her arm around his shoulders. "No, it won't be the same," she said. "But you'll play again. I promise you that. You'll play again." While they sat together, Sarah's video was being uploaded to the internet. She posted it on social media with a description of what happened. She tagged the police department. She tagged the mayor's office. She tagged local news stations. Within 1 hour, the video had been shared 100 times. Within 2 hours, it had been shared 1,000 times. By the time the evening news started, it had been shared 10,000 times. James Wilson's news report aired at 6 o'clock. The story was the first one shown. It was called "Officer Destroys Teen's Violin in Park Confrontation." They showed Sarah's video. They showed the interview with Linda. They showed Marcus holding the broken pieces. People watching the news were shocked. They were angry. Some people cried. The phone lines at the news station lit up. People wanted to help Marcus. People wanted Officer Hutchins punished. Mrs. Chen, Marcus's music teacher, saw the news at home. She immediately called Linda. "I'm starting a fundraiser," Mrs. Chen said. "We'll get Marcus a new violin. A good one." Linda thanked her, but she was not thinking about violins right now. She was thinking about justice. She was thinking about making sure this never happened to another child. By Saturday morning, the video had been shared over 100,000 times. It was on national news. People across the country were talking about Marcus and his broken violin. They were talking about Officer Hutchins. They were talking about police violence and racism. The police department released a short statement. It said they were investigating the incident. It said Officer Hutchins had been placed on administrative leave. But to many people, that was not enough. Administrative leave with pay was not punishment. It was a vacation. People were angry. They wanted more. They wanted real consequences. They wanted justice for Marcus. Pastor James from Marcus's church called Linda. "We're going to help you," he said. "The community is behind you. We're not going to let this go." The head of the local NAACP chapter called too. So did a civil rights lawyer. So did dozens of regular people who just wanted to help. Marcus stayed in his room most of Saturday. He did not want to talk. He did not want to eat. He just sat with the broken violin pieces. Every few minutes he would pick up a piece and look at it. Then he would put it down and cry again. His grandmother came over Saturday afternoon. When she saw the broken violin, she cried too. She held Marcus and rocked him like he was little again. "It's okay, baby," she said. "It's going to be okay." But Marcus was not sure if anything would ever be okay again. Mayor Elizabeth Rodriguez woke up early on Saturday morning. She always woke up early. Being mayor of a city meant there was always work to do. She made coffee and sat down at her kitchen table with her tablet computer. She checked her email first. Then she checked the news. The first thing she saw was Marcus's story. The video of Officer Hutchins breaking the violin was everywhere. The mayor watched it 3 times. Each time she felt angrier. Elizabeth Rodriguez was 51 years old. She had been mayor for 2 years. Before that, she was a city council member for 8 years. She grew up in this city. Her parents came from Mexico when she was 5 years old. Her father worked in construction. Her mother cleaned houses. They worked hard so Elizabeth could go to college. She was the first person in her family to graduate from university. When she ran for mayor, she made promises. She promised to reform the police department. She promised to fight racism. She promised to make the city fair for everyone. Not just rich people, not just white people, everyone. But change was hard. The police union fought her on everything. Some city council members did not support her. Some people said she was too soft on crime. Other people said she was not doing enough. Now, watching this video, the mayor knew she had to act. This was not just about one boy and one broken violin. This was about trust. This was about justice. This was about what kind of city they wanted to be. She called Police Chief Raymond Brooks. It was 7 o'clock in the morning, but the chief answered on the second ring. He had seen the video too. We need to talk, the mayor said. Today, this morning. I know, Chief Brooks said. I'll be at your office in 1 hour. Chief Brooks was 60 years old. He had been a police officer for 35 years. He was a black man who grew up in the poorest part of the city. He became chief 3 years ago. He wanted to change the police department. He wanted officers to serve the community, not fight against it. But it was hard. Many officers resisted change. When Chief Brooks arrived at the mayor's office, he looked tired. He sat down across from the mayor's desk. "Tell me about Officer Hutchins," the mayor said. Chief Brooks opened a folder. Inside were papers, reports, complaints. "Derek Hutchins has been with us for 12 years, the chief said. He has 17 complaints against him. Most are about excessive force or racial profiling. Every time we investigated, every time we could not prove the complaint. Or the complaint was minor. So we gave him warnings. We made him take extra training. But we never suspended him or fired him." "Why not?" the mayor asked. She knew the answer, but she wanted to hear him say it. "The union," Chief Brooks said. "Every time we try to discipline an officer, the union fights us. They have lawyers. Good lawyers. They make it very difficult. And if we fire someone, they often get their job back through arbitration. The system protects bad officers." The mayor nodded. She knew this was true, but knowing it and accepting it were different things. "Not this time," she said. "This time we have video. Clear video. There is no way to explain this away. That officer assaulted a child and destroyed his property, for no reason." "I agree," Chief Brooks said. "I want to fire him, but we have to follow the process. We have to do the investigation. It might take weeks, maybe months." "No," the mayor said. Her voice was firm. "People are tired of waiting. People are tired of investigations that go nowhere. We need to act fast. We need to show the community that we mean what we say." She picked up her phone and called the city attorney. His name was Michael Chen. He was smart and tough. The mayor explained the situation. She asked what they could do. "Give me 2 hours," Michael said. "Let me review the video in the officer's file. I'll find a way." While she waited, Mayor Rodriguez made more calls. She called Pastor James from the Community Baptist Church. Pastor James was a respected leader in the black community. He had been fighting for justice for 40 years. "Mayor," Pastor James said, "our community is hurting. That boy Marcus goes to our church. His mother and grandmother are good people. What happened to them is wrong. We need real action, not just words." "You'll have it," the mayor promised. "I give you my word." She called the head of the local NAACP chapter. Her name was Dr. Sharon Williams. She was a professor at the university. She organized protests and community meetings. "Mayor Rodriguez," Dr. Williams said, "if this officer is not fired, we will protest. We will march. We will not let this go." "I understand," the mayor said. "Give me until Tuesday." "I'm calling a press conference. You'll see real consequences." She called several city council members. Some supported her. Some were worried about the police union. Some wanted to wait and see what happened. "We can't wait," the mayor told them. "Every day we wait, we lose more trust. We need to act." By noon, Michael Chen called back. "I reviewed everything," he said. "The video is clear evidence. Hutchins violated multiple policies. We can terminate him immediately for cause. The union will fight it, but we'll win. The evidence is too strong." "Do it," the mayor said. That afternoon, the mayor met with Marcus's mother, Linda. Pastor James brought her to the mayor's office. Linda was nervous. She had never met the mayor before. She wore her best dress. She held her purse tightly in her lap. "Mrs. Thompson," the mayor said. She shook Linda's hand and sat down next to her, not behind her desk. "I'm so sorry about what happened to your son. It was wrong. Completely wrong." Linda's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you," she said. "Everyone keeps saying they're sorry, but I want to know what's going to happen. Will that officer be punished?" "Yes," the mayor said. "I promise you he will be punished. But I need your help. I'm holding a press conference on Tuesday. I want you and Marcus there. I want the whole city to see you, to hear you, to understand what happened." "What will happen at the press conference?" Linda asked. "I'm going to announce that Officer Hutchins is fired," the mayor said. "Not suspended, fired. And I'm going to announce new policies to make sure this never happens again." Linda looked at the mayor. She wanted to believe her. She had heard politicians make promises before. Promises that were not kept. But something about Mayor Rodriguez seemed different. She seemed sincere. "Okay," Linda said. "We'll be there." On Sunday, the mayor worked all day at her office. She wrote her speech for Tuesday. She made it strong and clear. She called more community leaders. She called reporters. She wanted everyone to know about the press conference. The video continued to spread. By Sunday evening, it had been viewed 5 million times. News stations across the country were talking about it. Some people supported the officer, saying people were rushing to judgment. But most people were angry about what happened to Marcus. On Monday, the mayor met with her staff. They planned every detail of Tuesday's press conference, where everyone would stand, what order people would speak, how to handle questions from reporters. The mayor also met with the police union president. His name was Tom Harrison. He was a big man with a loud voice. He was angry. "You can't fire Hutchins without due process," Harrison said. "The union will fight this. We'll take it to court." "Go ahead," the mayor said. "The video is clear. He assaulted a child. He destroyed property. He violated policy. You can't defend this." "He was doing his job," Harrison said. "His job is to protect people," the mayor said. Her voice was rising. "Not to hurt children, not to break their things. If you think that's his job, then you don't understand what police are supposed to do." Harrison left angry. He told reporters the mayor was throwing officers under the bus. He said she did not support the police. Some officers said they might protest or refuse to work. But other officers quietly supported the mayor. Officer Martinez, who helped Marcus that night, called the mayor's office. She said most young officers wanted change. They were tired of bad officers making them all look bad. On Monday night, the mayor could not sleep. She kept thinking about Marcus, about his broken violin, about his broken dreams. She thought about her own childhood, about times when people treated her badly because of her brown skin, because of her accent, because her parents were immigrants. She thought about why she became mayor. It was for moments like this. To stand up for people who had no power, to make things right. Tuesday morning came. The press conference was scheduled for 2 o'clock. The mayor arrived at City Hall early. She reviewed her speech one more time. She was ready. Linda and Marcus arrived at noon. Marcus wore his best clothes. His mother had ironed his shirt, but his eyes were sad. He did not want to be there. He wanted to be home with his broken violin. The mayor met with them privately before the press conference. She knelt down to Marcus's level. "Marcus," she said, "I know this is hard. I know you're hurting. But what happened to you is wrong. And I'm going to make sure everyone knows it. I'm going to make sure that officer faces consequences. And I'm going to make sure we change things so this doesn't happen to other kids. Can you be brave for me? Can you stand up there and show people what happened?" Marcus looked at his mother. She nodded. He looked back at the mayor. "Okay," he said quietly. "I'll try." At 2 o'clock, the main chamber of City Hall was packed. Every seat was full. Reporters filled the back of the room with cameras. Community leaders sat in the front rows. Some people held signs that said "Justice for Marcus." The mayor walked to the podium. Marcus and his mother stood beside her. The room became quiet. Everyone waited to hear what she would say. Mayor Rodriguez stood at the podium and looked out at the crowded room. Camera lights were bright in her face. Microphones pointed at her from every direction. She took a deep breath and began to speak. "Thank you all for coming," she said. "We are here today because something terrible happened in our city. Something that should never happen. Something that cannot be allowed to continue." She paused and looked at Marcus, who stood next to his mother. His head was down. His hands were folded in front of him. "This is Marcus Thompson," the mayor continued. "He is 14 years old. He is a student at Lincoln Middle School. He plays violin in the school orchestra, or he used to play violin, because last Friday evening a police officer destroyed his violin." The mayor pressed a button. A large screen behind her lit up. Sarah Mitchell's video began to play. The room became completely silent. Everyone watched as Officer Hutchins pushed Marcus to the ground. Everyone heard the terrible sound of the violin breaking on the concrete. When the video ended, the mayor let the silence sit for a moment. Some people in the audience were crying. Some were shaking their heads. Some looked angry. "You all just saw what I saw," the mayor said. "A police officer pushing a child to the ground. A police officer destroying a musical instrument. And for what? What crime did Marcus commit? What did he do to deserve this treatment? She looked down at her notes, then back up at the crowd. Marcus was walking home from school, the mayor said. He had just finished orchestra practice. He was carrying his violin. That's all. He was walking home with his violin, and Officer Derek Hutchins stopped him, questioned him, pushed him, and destroyed something precious. The mayor's voice got stronger. That violin was not just an instrument, she said. Marcus's grandmother bought it for him. She saved for 2 years. She is a grocery store worker who does not make much money, but she loved her grandson. She saw his talent. She saved $10 a week for 2 years so he could have a good violin. And Officer Hutchins destroyed it in seconds. Linda Thompson wiped tears from her eyes. Marcus still looked at the floor. I have been mayor for 2 years, Mayor Rodriguez said. I ran on a promise to reform our police department, to make sure officers serve our community with respect and fairness, to end the pattern of violence, especially against people of color. Today I am taking action to keep that promise. She paused for effect. Effective immediately, Officer Derek Hutchins is terminated from the police department. He is fired. Not suspended with pay. Not placed on leave, fired. The room erupted. Some people clapped. Some people cheered. Reporters started talking into their cameras. The mayor held up her hand for quiet. Officer Hutchins had 17 complaints filed against him over 12 years, she continued. 17 times people said he was too aggressive. 17 times people said he targeted minorities. And 17 times nothing serious happened to him. He got warnings. He got extra training. But he kept his job. He kept his badge. He kept his power. She looked directly at one of the cameras. That ends today, she said. In this city there will be consequences for officers who abuse their power. Real consequences. She continued explaining her decision. She talked about the city's investigation. She talked about the policies that Officer Hutchins violated. She made it clear that this was not a rushed decision. It was a decision based on clear evidence and clear violations. But firing one officer is not enough, the mayor said. We need to change the system that protected him for 12 years. We need to make sure this never happens again. She outlined her new policies. First, she announced the creation of a civilian oversight board. This board would have real power to investigate complaints against police. It would have the power to recommend discipline. It would not be made up of police officers or politicians. It would be made up of regular citizens. Second, she announced mandatory training. Every police officer would go through new training on implicit bias, de-escalation, and community relations. Officers who refused the training would not be allowed to work. Third, she announced a new policy for officers with multiple complaints. Any officer with more than 10 complaints would face automatic review. The department would examine whether that officer should keep working. Fourth, she announced funding for mental health support for officers. She said officers needed help dealing with stress and trauma. Healthy officers made better decisions. These changes will not happen overnight, the mayor said. Change is hard, but change is necessary. We must do better. Our community deserves better. Our children deserve better. Then she invited Linda Thompson to speak. Linda was nervous. She had never spoken in front of so many people before. Her hands shook as she approached the microphone. But when she started talking, her voice was strong. My name is Linda Thompson, she said. I am Marcus's mother. I work as a nurse at City Hospital. I work long hours taking care of people. When I'm at work, I don't worry about my son. I know he's at school, or at orchestra practice, or walking home through the park. He's a good boy, a smart boy, a talented boy. Her voice cracked. But now I'm afraid, she said. I'm afraid to let him walk home alone. I'm afraid of what might happen to him. Not because he does bad things, not because he's dangerous, but because of how people see him. Because he's a young black man, because officers like Derek Hutchins see him as a threat instead of a child. She looked at Marcus. My son's violin is broken, Linda said. But what's worse is that his trust is broken. His sense of safety is broken. He's afraid now. All the time. He doesn't want to leave the house. He doesn't want to play violin anymore. That officer didn't just break an instrument. He broke my son's spirit. Some people in the audience were crying openly now. Even some of the reporters had tears in their eyes. I want justice for my son, Linda said. But I also want change. I don't want other mothers to feel what I feel. I don't want other children to go through what Marcus went through. We have to do better. We have to be better. She stepped back from the microphone. The mayor gave her a hug. Then the mayor asked Marcus if he wanted to say anything. Marcus shook his head. He was not ready. That was okay. The mayor opened the floor to questions from reporters. Hands shot up everywhere. "Mayor Rodriguez, is Officer Hutchins in this room?" one reporter asked. "Yes," the mayor said. "I required him to be here. He's standing in the back." Everyone turned around. There, standing against the back wall, was Derek Hutchins. He was not in uniform. He wore regular clothes. His face was red. He looked at the floor. "Officer Hutchins," the mayor said, addressing him directly. Or rather, former Officer Hutchins. "You stood in a position of power. You had authority. You had a badge and a gun. And you used that power to hurt a child, to destroy something he loved. You should be ashamed." Hutchins did not respond. He just stood there. "In this city," the mayor continued, speaking to the whole room now, "we will not tolerate abuse of power. We will not look the other way. There are consequences for your actions. Real consequences." Another reporter asked, "What about the police union?" "They said they will fight this termination." "Let them fight," the mayor said. "We have clear video evidence. We have clear policy violations. We will win. And even if they try to fight it, Officer Hutchins will never work for this police department again. I will make sure of it." A third reporter asked, "What about Marcus's violin? Will the city replace it?" "Yes," the mayor said. "The city will pay for a new violin for Marcus, a professional quality instrument, and we will also set up a fund to support his music education. If Marcus still wants to pursue music, if he wants to go to Juilliard, we will help him get there." She looked at Marcus when she said this. For the first time, Marcus looked up. His eyes met the mayor's eyes. A small spark of hope appeared in them. The press conference continued for another 30 minutes. The mayor answered every question. She was clear and strong. She did not back down. When it ended, people surrounded Marcus and his mother. Strangers hugged them. People told them they were brave. Community leaders promised support. Mrs. Chen, Marcus's music teacher, was there. She hugged Marcus tight. "You're going to play again," Mrs. Chen whispered to him. "I promise you. You're going to play again." That evening, the press conference was on every news channel. The video of Officer Hutchins standing in the back of the room, hearing himself be fired publicly, went viral. People across the country saw it. Some people said the mayor was right. Some people said she was being too harsh. But everyone was talking about it. The police union released an angry statement. They said the mayor was playing politics. They said she did not follow proper procedures. They said they would get Hutchins his job back, but public opinion was against them. Even people who usually supported police said Hutchins went too far. Even some officers said he deserved to be fired. In his apartment, Derek Hutchins sat alone. He had lost his job. His wife was divorcing him. His kids would not talk to him. The whole country knew his name, knew what he did. He thought about how his life had fallen apart, how one moment of anger had cost him everything, but he still did not understand what he did wrong. In his mind, he was just doing his job. In his mind, the boy should have listened better. In his mind, this was all someone else's fault. In Marcus's apartment, the family watched the news together. Marcus saw himself on television. He saw his mother speaking. He saw the mayor firing Officer Hutchins. "Is it really over?" Marcus asked his mother. "Is he really fired?" "Yes, baby," Linda said. "He's really fired. And things are going to change. Not just for us. For everyone." Marcus looked at the broken violin pieces on his dresser. He had kept them. Maybe someday he would play again. Maybe someday he would trust again. But not today. Today was still too hard, but at least today there was justice. At least today there were consequences. At least today his pain meant something. 3 months had passed since that terrible Friday evening in the park. It was now early December. Snow was falling softly on the city. Christmas lights decorated the streets. The world looked peaceful and beautiful. Marcus stood backstage at the Paramount Theater. He wore a black suit that his mother had bought him. It was his first real suit. He looked older in it, more grown up. In his hands he held a violin. But it was not his grandmother's violin. That one was still broken, kept in a special box in his room. This violin was different. It was better than his old one. It was a professional instrument made by a master craftsman. It had a deep, rich sound. When Marcus first held it, he could not believe how beautiful it was. The violin had come from a famous violinist named Maria Santos. She had played in orchestras around the world. When she heard Marcus's story, she wanted to help. She donated one of her personal violins to him. She even came to his house to give it to him herself. "This violin has been with me for 20 years, Maria told Marcus that day. "It has played in concert halls from New York to Paris to Tokyo. Now it's yours. Play it well. Make beautiful music with it." Marcus had cried when she gave it to him, but these were different tears than the ones he cried 3 months ago. These were tears of gratitude and hope. At first, Marcus did not want to play violin anymore. For weeks after the incident, he could not even look at the broken pieces. The memory was too painful. Every time he thought about playing, he thought about Officer Hutchins. He thought about being pushed to the ground. He thought about the terrible sound of his violin breaking. His music teacher, Mrs. Chen, came to visit him at home. She brought sheet music. She brought recordings. She talked to him about music. But she did not push him to play. She just wanted him to remember why he loved it. "Music is yours," Mrs. Chen told him. "Nobody can take that away from you. Not that officer. Not anyone. The violin is just wood and strings, but music lives in here." She pointed to Marcus's heart. "And in here," she pointed to his head. "Nobody can break that." Slowly, Marcus started to heal. His mother took him to see a counselor, a therapist who helped kids deal with trauma. The therapist taught Marcus that what happened was not his fault, that he did not do anything wrong, that it was okay to be angry and scared. The community supported Marcus and his family in many ways. Mrs. Chen's fundraiser raised $15,000. People donated from across the country. The money would help pay for Marcus's music education. It would help pay for summer programs and competitions and eventually, hopefully, for Juilliard. The mayor kept her promises too. The Civilian Oversight Board was created. Real citizens with real power to investigate police. The mandatory training started. Hundreds of officers went through the new program. Some officers did not like it, some quit, but many officers said the training was good. It helped them do their job better. 5 officers with many complaints against them were removed from the force. They were not all like Hutchins. Some were just burned out. Some had problems at home. But they were not fit to be police anymore. The department helped them find other work. Officer Hutchins tried to get his job back. The police union hired expensive lawyers. They filed appeals. They claimed the mayor did not follow proper procedures. But the city attorney had done his homework. The termination was legal and proper. The video evidence was too clear. After 2 months of fighting, the union gave up. Hutchins was never coming back. Hutchins tried to get a job at other police departments in other cities. But everywhere he applied, they found out about the video, about what he did. Nobody would hire him. Last anyone heard, he was working as a security guard at a mall. His wife had divorced him. He lived alone. Some people felt sorry for him. Most did not. Marcus started playing violin again 6 weeks after the incident. It was a Saturday morning. He woke up early. The house was quiet. His mother was still sleeping after a night shift at the hospital. Marcus went to the living room. Maria Santos's violin was on the couch where he had left it the night before. He picked it up. His hands remembered how to hold it. His fingers remembered where to go on the strings. He lifted the bow and pulled it across. The sound that came out was beautiful. Clear and pure and strong, he played a simple song. A song he learned when he was 7 years old. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. It was easy, almost too easy, but it felt good. It felt right. His mother woke up to the sound of violin music. She came to the living room in her bathrobe. When she saw Marcus playing, she started to cry. Happy tears this time. Marcus smiled at her and kept playing. After that, he practiced every day. At first, just for 30 minutes. Then an hour. Then 2 hours. His skills came back quickly. He had not forgotten anything. If anything, he played with more feeling now. More emotion. Like he understood something about music that he had not understood before. Mrs. Chen was amazed at his progress. "You're playing better than ever," she told him. "What happened to you was terrible, but somehow you've taken that pain and put it into your music. It's beautiful, Marcus. Really beautiful." Marcus also got accepted into a special summer music program. The program was held at Juilliard School of Music in New York City. It was a 6-week intensive program for talented young musicians. Only 30 students were accepted each year. Marcus was one of them. When the acceptance letter came in the mail, Marcus and his mother danced around their small apartment. They laughed and cried at the same time. It was the first step toward his dream. Now, 3 months after the worst day of his life, Marcus was about to perform in the city's annual winter concert. It was held at the Paramount Theater, the nicest theater in the city. The concert featured musicians from all the schools in the district, but Marcus was chosen to play a solo. He would play Winter from Vivaldi's Four Seasons, the same piece he was humming that terrible day in the park. Marcus's mother sat in the front row of the theater. She wore her best dress. Next to her sat Marcus's grandmother. She wore a pearl necklace and her Sunday church hat. She held Linda's hand tightly. Mayor Rodriguez sat on the other side of Linda. She had promised to come to the concert. She kept her promises. Sarah Mitchell was there too, the woman who recorded the video. She and Linda had become friends. Sarah came to all of Marcus's concerts now. Mrs. Chen sat in the third row. She had brought a dozen students from the school orchestra. They all wore their concert clothes. They were all excited to hear Marcus play. Pastor James was there. Dr. Williams from the NOAACP was there. Officer Martinez was there in her police uniform. Even some reporters were there. They wanted to see how Marcus's story ended, or rather, how this chapter of his story ended. The lights in the theater dimmed. The audience became quiet. The curtain opened. Marcus walked onto the stage. He carried Maria Santos's violin. The stage lights were bright. He could barely see the audience, but he knew they were there. He knew his mother was there. He knew everyone who loved him and supported him was there. He stood in the center of the stage. He lifted the violin to his shoulder. He took a deep breath. Then he began to play. The opening notes of Winter filled the theater. Fast and urgent and beautiful, Marcus's fingers flew across the strings. The bow danced in his hand. He played with his eyes closed. He was not in the theater anymore. He was somewhere else, somewhere where there was only music. He played the first movement perfectly, fast and exciting. The music told a story of winter wind and snow, of ice and cold, but also of beauty, of nature's power. Then came the second movement, slower, gentler, like a quiet moment by a warm fire. Marcus played it with such feeling that many people in the audience got tears in their eyes. His mother cried. His grandmother cried. Even the mayor had to wipe her eyes. The final movement was fast again. Triumphant, like someone running through the snow, laughing and free. Marcus played it with joy, real joy. The kind of joy that comes after surviving something hard. The kind of joy that comes from healing. When he played the final note, the theater was silent for just a moment. Then everyone stood up. The whole audience rose to their feet. They clapped and cheered. Some people whistled. Some people shouted, "Bravo!" The standing ovation went on for 5 minutes. Marcus opened his eyes. He saw all the people standing and clapping for him. He saw his mother and grandmother crying and clapping. He saw the mayor smiling. He saw Mrs. Chen giving him a thumbs up. He bowed deeply. Then he bowed again. The applause continued. It seemed like it would never stop. Marcus looked at the violin in his hands. It was not his grandmother's violin. That one was broken and gone. But this violin was special too. It had its own story, and now, that story included him. He thought about the past 3 months, about the pain and the fear.
About the anger and the sadness. About Officer Hutchins and the broken violin, and that terrible day in the park. But he also thought about everything good that happened since then. About the mayor who fought for justice. About Sarah who recorded the video. About Mrs. Chun who never stopped believing in him. About Maria Santos who gave him a beautiful violin. About the whole community that stood up and said, "No more. This is not okay. What happened to him was wrong. Completely wrong. Nothing could change that. Nothing could give him back his grandmother's violin or the innocence he lost that day. But something good came from it too. The city changed. Policies changed. Bad officers were removed. Good officers got better training. And Marcus got to keep his dream. He got to keep playing music. The applause finally started to quiet down. People sat back down. Marcus left the stage. Backstage, his mother and grandmother rushed to hug him. They held him tight and told him how proud they were. "That was beautiful, baby," his mother said. "Just beautiful." "Your grandmother's violin would be proud," his grandmother said. "And I'm proud too." So proud. Mayor Rodriguez came backstage too. She shook Marcus's hand. "You're going to do great things," the mayor told him. "I know it. You're going to Juilliard someday. You're going to play in big concert halls. And you're going to remember this moment. This moment when you took something broken and made it beautiful again." Marcus smiled. A real smile. The kind of smile he had not smiled in 3 months. "Thank you," he said to the mayor. "Thank you for fighting for me. For making things right. That's my job," the mayor said. "To fight for people who need it. To make our city better. You helped me do that, Marcus. Your courage helped change things." That night, when Marcus got home, he carefully placed the violin in its case. He looked at the box on his dresser that held the broken pieces of his old violin. He had kept every piece. They were precious to him. They were a part of his story. He opened the box and looked at the broken wood and tangled strings. They did not make him cry anymore. They made him remember. Remember how far he had come. Remember how strong he was. Remember that broken things could be precious too. He closed the box and put it back on his dresser. Then he went to bed. He had school tomorrow. And after school, he had orchestra practice. And after practice, he would walk home. Maybe through the park. He was not afraid anymore. He had his music. He had his dream. He had his family and his community and his new violin. Nobody could take those things away from him. Not Officer Hutchins. Not anyone. As Marcus drifted off to sleep, he thought about the summer program at Juilliard. He thought about all the music he would learn, all the pieces he would play, all the dreams that were still waiting for him. His grandmother's sacrifice was not wasted. If anything, it meant more now. It meant everything. Marcus smiled in the dark. Tomorrow he would practice. Tomorrow he would play. Tomorrow he would make beautiful music. And that terrible day in the park, that day when everything broke, would become just one part of his story. Not the end. Not even close to the end. Just the beginning of something new.